Time is a precious commodity. People use it for all sorts of things. Some use it for work and other responsibilities. Me? I'm going to use time to talk to some really awesome people. I'm Sergio Barrera, and this is A Few Minutes With. Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of A Few Minutes With. I am Sergio Barrera, and as always, I am joined by the one, the only Susan Chisholm.
That's me.
George has once again taken the night off, so it's left to you and I to make this show happen. So
we'll do our best.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think I need to come up with like a more formal announcement of the show as we start. It'd be like something like the music would end and I would be like, good evening. Welcome. But see, then you'd laugh and it's like it would just, break the whole formal mood.
I imagine that you're wondering why I've called you here tonight.
Yeah, we could just do a whole show like that. It's like, I would like to very much thank those who have joined us. And wow, speaking of people joining us, I just flipped to the chat and I'm like, whoa. We've got quite a few folks. Our weekly regulars are here. Gotta say
excited.
Hello. Yeah, absolutely. I guess they want to know how to get to know people. And so, want to say hello to a few folks who have popped in this evening. Want to say hi to our friend Janine, One Punch Dough, Captain Sparkle Pants, of course. I think you know him, Susan.
I do.
And also want to say hi to our friend Savage, as well as Rihanna, and Gator is in the house as well. So thank you guys for joining us, as you always do. We really appreciate it. Tonight, we are going to have a little bit of fun. And one of the things, Susan, that I learn more and more every week about, as we do the show, is that I always forget to do a banner because it's not cool science stuff. And in fact, I think it's important that we have a banner for this one because I want to make sure that folks understand what we're after here tonight, because this one, more than any of the other shows we've done, really is going to be reliant upon audience participation. And yes, I really 100%. Want to make that a continued thing here on the show week to week. And because if we learned anything, Susan, it's that our audience is the best podcast audience out there.
Absolutely. I like how y'all are here and you interact, and it makes me feel not lonely. I mean, aside from having him, but
I'm here too. So
well, you're the host, so you're on a whole different
Got it. So awkward getting to know you questions is tonight's topic. And we talked about this earlier in the week, you and I. And so I think before we get started, we should kind of frame this whole discussion around what it is we're here to do. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of over the traditional questions of getting to know somebody. What would you say, Susan, are some of the questions that are most common when you're getting to know someone, for whatever purpose, even if it's just a new acquaintance or coworker or whatever? What are some of the standard questions that, are often asked?
You get the whole where are you from? What is your occupation?
How many cars have you stolen?
Family like what?
How many cars have you stolen? No, is on that one of them? How many speeding tickets have you had?
How many FedEx box trucks have you stolen and run off of the pier in San Francisco?
I thought you were going to say how many FedEx trucks stop by your house, because
that's another one. How many Amazon deliveries do you get a day?
Yeah. What is your average delivery per month from Amazon? I think that's pretty telling about people. So
I think so.
Yeah. Can they afford you? Just kidding. So some of these common questions I think are people can come up with sort of canned responses for. And I'm curious to ask those who are watching, when you're in a situation where somebody asks questions that are what we call getting to know you questions. Where are you from? Favorite color? Do you have pets? Do you have siblings? Are there questions that you guys have canned responses for? Because I don't know about you, Susan, but after a while, I think we go into sort of this rote behavior and we just sort of answer without giving this question as much thought.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because it is so commonplace. So I don't know. Like and the thing is, and I have it not to use it as an excuse, but I have ADHD, so sometimes people are talking and my mind wanders.
Mhm.
So I miss parts of the question. I miss I forget what I'm supposed to say.
I feel like that happened to you just now.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I lose my train of thought. Like I
Sure.
forget what I'm gonna say as I'm saying it. So that's
Do you struggle the way I do with just remembering someone when they've told you what their name is?
oh
Like remembering
100%.
their I
Ugh,
I can tell
I'll
you straight up that in a one-on-one situation, or I should say in person, I will not remember your name the first time you tell it to me. And it's
yep.
not because I'm in any way wanting to be disrespectful. It's just I'm so socially awkward. Yes, I am. Um, that the first few seconds of meeting someone and interacting with them is this like all I hear is that white noise sound as I'm trying as I'm trying to come up with like, okay, I have to talk, like I have to engage, and so it's a struggle for me.
Yeah, and there's actually a situation I had last week at work. As you're aware, the new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was
Mhm.
released, a couple weeks ago, and I had mentioned to someone at work briefly. I mean, one interaction with this lovely young lady, um, and we had worked together. And I mentioned that I was getting it, and she was like, "Oh, that's awesome." So the next Monday came around. She's like, "How do you like it?" And I was like, "Okay, first of all, who are you? And second of
Yeah,
all, the fuck are you talking about?" And so, I was like, "Huh? Oh yeah, the game. Well, I haven't had a chance to play yet." And she's like, "Oh shucks, okay." So like 3 days later, she came up to me. She's like, "Have you had a chance to play yet?" And I was like, "I still do not." I was like, I know her face. I know it." And so, the third or fourth time she asked, we were in the hallway and I walked by her, like I stopped for a second and kept walking. And I stopped, I turned around, I was like, "I am so sorry. I know that I know you. I know that you've told me your name before, but I absolutely cannot remember it."
yeah,
And she kind of laughed and she's like, she told me your name. I was like, that wasn't going to be one of my guesses at all. So I'm really glad that I double checked. And she just kind of
sure,
laughed, and she
yeah.
was really, really sweet about it. So
Have you?
and that's me. I'm like, I have to own up to it.
Oh yeah. Have you ever done that thing where you think you know their name but you're not sure, so you're like, Susan.
Yeah. You're like, thanks for all your help.
And they're like, "Did you call me Lucy?" And so, but yeah,
No, that's not anywhere
not
close
at
to your
all.
name.
Yeah. I have to put this up because I'll take any praise that comes our way. Jenny says, Susan, I remember first by her laugh and it was contagious.
No,
Sergio, your
thank you.
voice is iconic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um,
Okay,
so
I take it that the bribe payment did go through. Thanks for letting us know,
yes,
Janine.
absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, but as we get into this discussion, so part of this, and speaking of cats, Dolly has arrived, um, and we I was in a situation earlier. This is kind of what partially inspired this idea, to cut two different things. One of which I'll share later if it happens to present itself. But I was in a situation this week where someone passed me in the hallway at work and was like, "Hey, Sergio, how's it going?" Yeah, and I was like, "I don't know who you are. I have no clue who this person is," except that I did because this is someone who is a work acquaintance, but is someone who's sort of important in the mix of my organization, the training organization in our company. So it's someone who was like, in their mind, I was, oh man, I get to finally meet Sergio. And I'm like, who the hell are you? So it was a really awkward moment. And so as I thought about it after, I was like, it's one of those moments where I'm still at the age of 53, not ready for these encounters. And like, I was thinking like, what would you ask? That wouldn't be the same standard old stuff. So you and I
Mhm.
talked about it, and we determined that we were going to bring a list of what we call awkward getting to know you questions, like questions that you wouldn't think at first to ask.
Mhm.
But if we were brave enough, these are some questions we might try, right? And we thought we would test them out on each other and on our guests.
Yes,
So
please.
we're expecting class participation, folks, when it comes to these questions. Now, I do want to point out that Janine has kind of given us a couple of examples of what I was talking about. She posted earlier, "What's your go-to taco order?" That's a definitely an example of what we're talking about. Or favorite thing to dip bread into. I wish I thought of that one. So Susan, I think you came up with a few.
I came up with many. I came up with too many.
So did
Because
I.
I compiled my list and you were like, I came up with 5.
So did
Hang on.
I. Stop showing off. So
It's like 2 pages.
so
Um,
we're gonna go through these and kind of test them on one another, but also on our guests here this evening. And again, maybe we're the ones that start a trend that because human interaction is tough.
yeah.
I mean, even in a world of digital contact, I teach digitally. We both, stream. We interact in this format where we have a platform that is digital in nature, and we probably have a little bit of an easier time with interaction of this type because talking to a chat and even to one another is easier in a format
Yeah.
like this. Um, I think we want to show respect to the fact that many people aren't comfortable with, that one-on-one interaction kind of stuff, or even in groups, it's tougher. But
Yeah.
we're half joking, kind of half serious of like, maybe the key to breaking the awkwardness is just trying something silly that may or may not hit. Okay. So with
At
your
least you tried.
permission, I want to start because I want to show you the question that was part 2 of what inspired this episode. Okay.
Okay.
Because I'd like to just go ahead and start with that question
Go for it.
because I was like, oh, that would be something cool to know about people.
All right.
So, are we okay to begin?
Let's begin.
Question number 1. What is your favorite font?
Font?
Absolutely. What is your favorite font? And again, folks, those of you who are listening, thank you for being here, but also we want to hear from you as well. So, what is your font? Kevin Sparkman
Yeah.
goes readable.
Anything that is readable and not Comic Sans. I don't. It depends on the application. Like if I'm writing a paper for school, it needs to be in, 12 point Times New Roman double spaced and, hanging paragraphs.
Sure, when it's required.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but like honestly, I don't think much about it. Like it just the standard one, whatever it starts with. Like again, I mean,
And
like,
it's
but if
okay
I'm
to look. If you want to like bring up a Word document and kind of scroll through the titles, feel free.
I mean,
Um,
but if I'm making a flyer to put up at work,
yeah.
I might use a different font, but it's more for me more about like colorfulness and pictures and stuff
Oh,
like that.
sure.
Like I don't think, yeah.
Why did I know this was going to come up at least once? I thought this was going to be your answer. So Janine comes up with wingdings. But also Kevin Sparklepants is in with Helvetica, Courier, Ariel, one of my favorites, by the way, Ariel, and Verdana. I would also throw in as my favorite Calibri.
If I,
Calibri Bold is my absolute favorite. Rihanna
I
coming in
do
with Calibri or
I do
Verdana.
have to pull up a Word document.
Yeah. Janine adds Joker ITC. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's
Oh
see. Oh,
gosh.
Janine also comes in with nope, that's the wrong one I wanted to highlight. There we go, Papyrus. So, and apparently there's one called Lobster. I have to look that one up. I do not know that one. Good old Gator chimes in with, I don't know what font it is, but the font in my report system at work is satisfying. Very blocky and neat. Gator, I'm gonna have to have you find that out for me because now I want to see which one it is. So But yeah, font is that's I forgot what made me think about it, but I was like, ooh, that'd be a kind of cool question to ask people, and when they're not expecting, a unique question. So
Yeah, I don't really have a favorite.
you don't have a favorite?
Not really. There's one on here called Ink Free that kind of looks like my handwriting, like in real life. Not too bad. Freestyle script.
You'll have to
No,
get back
actually,
to
this
us.
one. What is this one? Fair Water Script. You have to download it. I like that one.
All right.
Dreaming Out Loud Pro. Anyway, there's a
But
bunch, I guess.
if you're asked that question, you have to sit and got to think about it, right? It's not something that can just be given a canned response that won't lead to some form of conversation, right? That's the cool thing about some of the questions that we're going to present is they're probably good conversation starters as well, right?
Yeah.
When we're struggling for a topic to bring up. I think she agrees. So so I was waiting for you to come in there. So what question would you like to get started with off of your list?
Okay. What is the strangest place you've ever fallen asleep?
Strangest place I've ever fallen asleep.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't tend to fall asleep in strange places, but I'm gonna. Well, so I know that there's been a couple of times that I have fallen asleep at derby venues, like in the stands. It has not happened often. It happened at least one time I can think of, and that was a mess because the bleachers were not comfortable. And I don't mean like laid out, sprawled out. I was just like out, you know. So, huh. So I shouldn't say this out loud, but there's been a couple times at work. So, but not for long. Not for long. What about you?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to sleep in the bowling alley when my parents would go bowling.
Oh,
As an adult, I have fallen asleep on the shuttle from work back to my car,
mm.
which is not good, but let's see. I mean,
Oh,
before I got my CPAP, I fell asleep
yeah.
while I was at a stoplight.
Yeah, I have horror stories about that before my apnea was diagnosed. So this is gonna get dark quick if we keep down that path.
Yeah, let's not.
Some of our guests tonight, Gator says during an active house party, I fell asleep next to the bonfire.
Did you get
I
all cozy and warm though?
I could
Once you
see
get that
that.
right temperature,
Yeah,
it's lights out.
absolutely. Janine says a fold-out table at a wedding.
Eep.
And Captain Sparkle Pants in league with me apparently when he says at work, standing and typing. Knowing his job, I think that would be dangerous. Let's see what else. I feel like we're missing. My high school friend's parents' bed. Savage says they weren't home. Wow. Am I missing some? Let's see. Gosh, it's called moving so fast. Oh, Rihanna, no, I fell asleep driving home. Don't do that. No more. It was my first. Oh no, yeah. We're glad it wasn't worse than that. Yeah, falling asleep at the wheel, not a good thing, guys. But I get it because that is what finally led me to get diagnosed with my sleep apnea, and it's been better ever since. So, thank you, CPAP. All right. So, there you go. That's the other thing about these questions is they can go down various paths. So
I apologize. I did not mean for that.
No, that's not your fault.
Scary.
All right, ready?
Yes.
How would you describe the way you dance?
Have you ever seen what happens when you take when you take a fish out of the water and you put it down, and it goes.
The floppy.
That's me.
I think about this question, and I'm like the spot it would put the person in potentially, but then at the same time, I think people could have fun with it. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm teasing. I used to say like someone's having a seizure but then I started working in medicine. It's not good. But yeah, not good.
Oh, the winner answer. Here we go. Gator, sexy. Of course. Of course. I'm more of a I'm more of a it's weird because when I do get the courage up to dance, I like to make up moves because it's more so about being silly than it is about like I can't do dance moves. Like what are those dances called? The ones where the line dances? There's a couple that like people line up and they all do the same moves and they move backwards and forwards and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
I cannot do that. That's too much to memorize. Like I don't want to think while I'm dancing if I dance. So I just sort of like I kind of bop and then I like just start doing weird shit because I'm totally like in the moment and just like I don't care. And yeah, it gets kind of funny. So
okay.
And I also raise the roof.
Demonstration.
Say it again.
Demonstration.
Not tonight. But yeah, let's see. What do we get from folks? Janine starts us off with Elaine from Seinfeld. I can relate to that. I understand that. Let's see. A lot of folks talking about that's why the Cha-Cha Slide is amazing.
The Cupid Shuffle, yeah.
Cater comes in with the Cupid Shuffle.
I bet the wobble. I can do the wobble thanks to roller derby after parties.
Got it.
Is it embarrassing? Yes.
Well, and see, the tough part for me when it comes to dancing is I don't blend into a crowd. I am the crowd. And I don't mean that like arrogantly. I'm talking like I'm bigger than the crowd. So I'm visible. And so that's why eventually it's just like, I don't give a shit. And so, you know. All right. I think it's your turn.
Yeah. I have to share. I have to save one. This one for the last. Let's see.
Okay.
If your pet could talk, what would be his or her catchphrase?
Oh man, that's a good one. That's assuming the person has a pet, right?
Yeah.
If your pet could talk, what would be their catchphrase? Well, if it was Steven and it was 3:00, 3 hours before feeding time, his catchphrase would be, "No one loves me. Everybody hates me." You gonna finish for me?
Let's go eat some worms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was like, wait, is that where he's going with this?
Yeah. Because Steven 3 hours before feeding time thinks he's gonna like wither away.
He sings the song of his people.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I have so many. I'll go with that one. I have too many other pets to try to do more than one. So what about you?
Stormy is what is that? Oh God, hang on. What's the line? It's a line from the movie Cars. So you probably haven't. He says, "Look at me, here I am, love me." So that's Maya.
That's my. I was gonna guess
Stormy.
Well, I was gonna guess Stormy. So
yeah, because you can't like if my alarm goes off, I reach over, I turn off make the sound stop, and I put my hand back. And by the time that I'm laying flat on my back, Stormy is on my chest, like headbutting me in the face, like love on me. So,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I like this one. This has got to be a cat. Please, peasant. Another one I saw on a meme once. It was like food can opener, referring to the owner as the can opener. Rihanna comes in with Athena saying, "Food, I love food. Yes, I do anything for food." So I can picture that. I know Athena's energy, so that makes sense to me. And let's see. Yeah, we got quite a few here. But yeah, that would be mine. And yours is actually very, very applicable for a little Stormy, little, not little anymore. So, all
Sounds
right,
big.
let's go back into your past. What was your favorite Halloween costume as a kid?
That's a tough one.
Well, while you think, I'm going to say hello to Rasta Funk Jr., who's in the house. Rasta, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy birthday yesterday, Rasta.
Oh, happy belated.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit of background into my family. Gator, the question was, what was your favorite Halloween costume as a kid?
Yep.
So, and it's coincidentally the only Halloween costume that I also have a picture of. I do not have it physically with me. My mom has it, but I can get it eventually. So we didn't have a lot of purchasing power. We'll say that.
Okay.
So I think I had a Halloween costume from maybe Walmart or Kmart when it was still around, and it was a grape. I think I was one of the California raisins. But not. I honestly, it was. I cannot remember what it actually was, but it was grapes. I had a mask with eye cutouts, and it was grapes. And my outfit, the top of my outfit was like a cool T-shirt that like twisted and tied, and then my pants were purple. I was, and Becca was some other. Becca was some other kind of fruit, I think. But yeah, most of the other Halloween costumes that I had, I kind of Frankensteined myself. And also like, hey, we have a wedding to go to, and you're going to be a bridesmaid or like a flower girl, and so I just put my flower girl dress on from last year's wedding and be like, I'm a princess. Oh, don't do that. I cannot hear you.
As I think about the question, it's funny because I wrote the question, and I can't really recall any of my childhood costumes because we always sort of settled for those masks that were like, I don't even know what the material was, but they hurt because they had like the little spiky parts on the nose as you put it over your face.
Yep.
And I don't really look back on those fondly. It wasn't until I was actually an older adult working when I first got myself some money and I invested in a Darth Vader mask and put an entire Darth Vader outfit together.
Nice.
I was in my early 20s, so you got to go to that point in my life for any sort of Halloween costume that was memorable for me. So yeah, that's what I'd say. I don't think I can't remember any of my childhood costumes, to be honest.
You should.
So
I am. Oh, okay.
so we've got a few answers. Someday Cullen's gonna have to tell me about the really freaking creepy rabbit, because that sounds fun. And
Cullen also
further
needs to
down,
tell you about dysfunctional pixie.
all right. Further down, we've got Misty from Pokemon. We've got, let's see, a gator 1 year. I'll give you one guess who that was. And let's see. Belle from Beauty and the Beast comes up as well. So yeah, some unique costumes from people's childhood. All right, Susan, you're up next.
Okay. I gotta keep getting into my phone. Okay. What nicknames have people called you throughout your life?
Why would you do this? Rude. Actually, I think I've shared this on this show because I didn't really have a lot. The given nickname for my name, which is actually pronounced Sergio in Spanish, was Chetro. And I'm still 53 years old. My siblings, some of them still call me that. So that was the only nickname that I ever had. I don't count Piggy because that was a persona. So that, I mean, some people still call me that because of roller derby, but I don't know that I would count that as a nickname because that was an actual like persona for announcing. And in streaming, there's those who've called me Potato. But I think if there was a nickname in my life, it was the one I grew up with and still some of my siblings call because the given nickname for my name is Checho. So boring.
It's not boring. It's just a good thing to know. But I mean, I would consider Potato and Piggy as nicknames. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've given you
I
nicknames.
wouldn't.
I've given you nicknames, I'll tell you. But like, but it was like a one-off thing from a comment you made, and then it was like a, never stayed. My nicknames throughout my childhood, or throughout my life. When I was a young child, I was Buzz Buzz.
Mm-hmm.
My sister used to call me the interloper. That's not true. That's not true.
That's funny.
She thought it. And then I've got like the cutesy wootsy nicknames from this guy. My mom used to call me Susan Dammit. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
And actually, she used to call me Suzer Doozer, which is where Suzer Bruiser came from. Clumsy.
And in my phone, you're biscuit-sized fists. So that's.
And in my phone, you're wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Nice.
That's the other thing is I wonder what some folks in the chat like. Who do you have? Like, do you give your friends or loved ones unique names in your phones? And if you're willing to share, if it's family friendly, and you don't have to name them, just share the name you put them under in your phone. So,
and that was something that actually maybe can kind of like as a part B, in your phone, is your spouse in your phone listed as their full name? So,
oh no,
somebody at work went to call their wife, and it was listed as their name, and then like under occupation it said wife.
Yeah.
And we were like, why wouldn't you just put her like her nickname that you always call her?
Yeah.
Like,
for the longest time, Jen has been Ginger. And the only change that ever, because she was Ginger before, that was her roller derby name, but it was J and the word Inger. But she'd been Ginger for a long time before that, and so it just happened to work for roller derby to spell it that way. So she's J Inger, like Ginger, in my phone, and has been for a long time. And our friend Rosiel Prime, Nick Kramer, he's in my phone as the new Tony. Which is a reference to Tony Stark because he's such a big Marvel fan. And so he always has these great ideas. So I call him the new Tony.
Cullen is in my phone as Car Wash.
Okay.
No idea why.
Wow.
And I think I'm in his phone as Beep Beep because I was trying to talk and I stuttered. Yeah. Beep. Oh, because of the cat. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Interesting.
There you go.
Interesting. I think I'm in Jen's phone as spousal unit. So no, I'm kidding. I don't know. You're also in another thing that I have you listed in your Hootie Hoo. So all right, next question. Right. Next question. Whose turn is it?
It's your turn. Oh, mine. That is a nickname. But thank you for. I'm sorry. Rasta brought up Short Stack. He calls me Short Stack. He has a tattoo, a short stack of pancakes.
That's awesome.
Sorry. Anyway, okay. I apologize. I interrupted. It's your turn.
All right. Let's see. In school, when you were in school, middle school, high school, what was your favorite school lunch? Because mine was them Wednesday enchiladas.
If I was in when I was in elementary school, it was probably the square pizzas.
Okay.
I do not remember middle school lunches at all.
They're pretty same as high school, if you remember high school.
Well, in high school,
Except in high school, we got the option of the snack bar kind of stuff.
yeah,
Gas
like there's
station
like
burritos.
the little side where you could pay for something better,
Right,
like
right.
actual
Yeah.
delicious pizzas. My high school had chicken sandwiches, but they were like the breaded chicken, and it was really tasty.
Yeah. Well, and what I've noticed over the years is I'm looking across some of the answers that are listed in the chat. I see pizza, I see shepherd's pie, I see chicken tenders. There are certain things that, as a younger guy in middle school, high school, some of these things were not even a thought to be like chicken tenders. Not when I was growing up. It was the rectangular pizza, it was the enchiladas, it was burgers on Monday.
Yeah, the bland
There
ass
was
burgers.
right, exactly, and yet to me, it was like, ooh, like I'm living the high life here, which is hilarious given what I know about food now. So, rib sandwiches, Gator says, man, I never got a rib sandwich. So, yeah. All right. So, a lot of great answers in the chat. Thank you guys. All right, your turn. What do you got?
Okay, hang on. This is a weird one. What is something that you keep smelling despite the fact that it doesn't smell particularly good?
What? Oh my god. Something I keep smelling, even though it doesn't smell particularly good.
I could go first.
Yeah,
So
help me out because I'm not tracking.
so like skunk smell is very strong and unpleasant,
Okay.
but it's like
Yeah, but you can't help it.
but I don't mind. Like I honestly I don't mind it because it has a lot of similar like compounds that are also in puppy's breath. Like the little puppy breath smell, I like that. It's kind of not great. Um there I like okay, Rena and Cap Sparkle Pants are talking about medications
Right.
and yeah, medications.
Yeah.
What is that one?
Gator,
Almost certain.
the question is a smell that you keep smelling even though it's not a good smell. Like you go back to it.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it smells so terrible. Like that.
I mean, I closest I can think of is, food that has gone bad. I mean, it's like you do the double check. But I don't if some for me, smell is a very like powerful thing in terms of sensory experience. So if something smells bad, I can't go back to it. Like it just isn't a pleasant experience for me. But if you're cooking food, you have to smell what you're cooking, right? If you have any doubt that it's still good, then you might do the double check just to be sure. And then like, okay, yeah, no, I can't cook this. So that's the closest I can come to what you're asking. Now, I will say this because of smell being such a powerful sensory experience for me. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, there is a fragrance that reminds me of my mother. Like I can literally, my sister still has the bottle. It's an Estee Lauder, like a body splash kind of thing from. I'm talking back in the 70s kind of product, and my mother had a bottle left. And after she passed away, I would literally go when I would visit my dad, and every so often I'd go and I'd find the bottle and I'd open it and take a smell because it was my mom. That was the fragrance and I remember the very first time I found the bottle after I was helping my dad clear some stuff up in the house, and I opened that bottle just kind of to smell it, forgetting what it was, and oh man, like the sensory hit and all the memories of my mother. That was a very emotional like moment for me. And like I said, in the years that followed, I would often go in and go, I just need a little bit of that fragrance to remind me of my mom. And so yeah, so that's where smell for me has to be more on the pleasant side. So if it's something unpleasant, I can't bring myself back to it like on purpose. So I don't know if that helps, but
Yeah, no, that
that's
does help.
me.
Makes sense. Yeah. Sorry. My questions are not very good.
Did I bring down the house? Is that what happened?
No,
there?
I feel like my questions are not very good, so they're like
Oh no,
kind
they're
of falling
fine.
flat.
Not at all. Not at all. No, but see, that's the thing is you think that, but look at all the people who are answering. So they're working just fine as far as I'm concerned. So here's my next. Oh no, it's your turn. No, it's my turn.
No, it's your turn.
It's my turn. All right, I'm
It's
losing
your turn.
count. It don't matter. If you were a pie, what kind of pie would you be? And are you sure you're not a cake? I'm just kidding.
I hate you so much.
No, so name 2 pie flavors that you cannot go without. Like if they were gone from the world, you would just be devastated.
Cherry and pumpkin.
Okay. Excellent. Janine's hand pies are stellar and epic, and I need to negotiate a monthly delivery of some sort that I need to set up a payment system for because I'm gonna miss them. For me, it's gonna have to be, and I promise I won't say Boston green pie. But my 2 go-tos are pecan and pumpkin used to be second, but I'm really, really finding myself partial to a good cherry pie. Like that's, yeah, but it has to be like not that cherry filling business. It has to be like made from fresh cherries.
Not the canned cherries.
Right. I won't listen. If you put that in front of me, I'm not gonna deny it. But if it can be made fresh, then I'm all over that. Or a good peach pie. Oh my gosh, don't get me started. So yeah. I think you can learn a lot about people and the pies that they like. Rihanna, who says apple cherry slab pie. That's a lot of words for a pie.
Oh, when she makes it, that's so good. I've had it.
Rihanna, July
had it.
4th. I'm going to see you guys that weekend, so I think I need to request that from you. So it has been said. Let's see what else. What other people put? Rasta puts an apple cinnamon pie and a brown sugar pecan pie. Yeah, absolutely. Apple Gator apple Cosmerica. And let's see. Looking further up, I think that's what we got. Nice. All right, I think it's your turn.
Okay. What is something that people seem to misunderstand about you?
How awesome I am. No, I'm kidding.
So they're
Misunderstand about
misunderstanding
me.
that you're awesome.
Misunderstand
And they
about
think
me.
you are?
That's well, no, that's an easy one. They often will not believe me when I say I'm socially awkward, but you've seen it happen, Susan, firsthand.
Yep.
Even Cullen. Like I remember when I first met Cullen, it was at a couple of Derby events, and I didn't know what to say to him. He was very cordial, very, very like the nicest guy. But it was a situation where I'm like, I don't know what, and so he totally experienced it firsthand.
Yeah.
Because in Derby and in places where I would do public speaking, whatever it was, whether it was roller derby or other things, you're meeting the persona. You're not meeting Sergio, right? And so when I did have to meet, that's why I think the story you tell about how you and I first met and you felt like I was rude to you.
So rude.
I just didn't know how to respond. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and I'm just totally awkward. So I think people misunderstand that this is probably the most genuine you're going to get in terms of myself. Like if you can get past the social awkwardness, then you'll eventually meet this guy that you're seeing right now in podcasting, streaming, whatever the case may be, because eventually I get to that comfort level with people. And I would say that just everyone on this chat, I feel like this is who I want them to know. But when people first meet me, they're really sometimes thrown off, especially if they've seen me announce, where they're like, dude, like you were so awkward. And I'm like, sorry.
Welcome to me.
So yeah, I think people must understand that I truly am a socially awkward person. So yeah.
So for me, people seem to misunderstand. It's kind of hard to say. It's kind of weird. It's awkward, clumsy, but like my age. Everybody looks at me and is like, "Oh, you're 10 years younger than you actually are." And so, but then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been married for 17 years. You know, I've been a certified pharmacy technician for 20 years." And people are like, "But you're only like 27." No, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they take, I guess, my youthful experience to be, or youthful visage to be,
Exuberance.
inexperience.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So someone tried to explain to me how to do my job, and I was like, "You realize that I've been at the company for longer than you have, right?"
Sure. Yeah.
And or that I don't have good taste, like taste in music. Like I haven't heard, Black Sabbath. I'm like, I don't even know
Well,
how
somebody
that
just
makes sense.
questioned whether you even knew Billy Joel, which I found hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So that was fun. I'm looking at the chat and I have to comment on this one. Janine says, I come across as someone that doesn't like hugs, but I do like hugs. And I can tell you straight up that and I hope this doesn't put her on the spot, but she now that we know her, I understand this completely, because I know that in the instances after I'd met her and known her, for a little bit, you can sense that impulse of like at least the side hug, like going for a side hug. It's gonna be side hug. It's gonna be okay, but you're still like, oh, but what if she punches me? Like, so, and it would never have happened, right? But I get that completely, because Jen is kind of opposite, where people are like, oh, like, and she's like, no, don't hug me. Like Jen is completely like, somebody actually, we were somewhere and someone hugged her and they're like, I'm sorry, I'm a hugger. And Jen's response was literally, I am not. So I was like, let's move on.
I got her a coffee mug that is the Venus de Milo. So no arms. It just says not a hugger.
Yeah. Yeah. Savage comes in with opposite for me. For some reason, I must scream, give me a hug, but really, no, thank you. So, oh man, Savage and Jen would get along great. So, did you answer that one? Yeah, you did. It was the whole youthful exuberance thing. So,
yeah, or something.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What goes on your burrito?
It depends on where I am.
No,
but
there's a standard.
The most okay.
What's your standard?
Steak, Spanish rice, refried beans, mixed cheese, and lime juice.
No guac.
Nope.
Is it because of the cilantro risk?
A lot. Yes, exactly. Yeah. A lot of restaurants have cilantro in their guacamole. But also, I'm really picky about avocado in general. Like,
okay.
Sometimes they add something to it to make it like not brown, and it tastes very bitter. It's not like citrus, like lemon juice or anything like that. It's something else, and it's bitter.
Gotcha.
Don't like it. But yeah, no veggies.
Oh, Rasta asked an interesting question, because I said burrito, but he asked what time.
Oh, yeah.
That does make a difference. So Rasta, I'm curious, what does your breakfast burrito look like? And anyone else who wants to share, because that does make a difference. That makes an absolute difference.
That's like a lunch or dinner burrito for me, I guess. But
yeah.
Breakfast is my Susan special.
Which is, so that people know,
bacon, beans, potatoes, and cheese.
No eggs.
No eggs.
No eggs. Donut Taco Palace. They make it perfectly.
Yes.
Savage says chicken, no beans, rice, sauteed veggies, lettuce, cheese, jalapenos, and queso. Ooh, that queso. Yeah, that's a difference maker.
I get queso to dip my burrito in.
Oh, I'll do both. You'll put it on it, and then I'll dip it, and it's going to be life is good. Let's see. Gator says ground beef, rice, bacon, cheese, salsa, onions, jalapeno, and lettuce. I'm always one that is surprised by people putting lettuce on a burrito, but I get it. There's a probably a good crunch factor there. Mine is I'm a minimalist, so I usually go with steak, beans, but it has to be the ball beans, the whole beans, not the ball beans. I call them the ball beans. The not refried. Okay, so
Not smushed.
right, not smushed. So the chef's term. So steak, whole beans, and it's got to be pinto. I love black beans. Don't get me wrong, but it's got to be pinto beans. Rice, and I'm okay with guac. If I'm not going to put guac, it's going to be queso or some form of cheese, and that's it. I don't want anything else because I want to taste every single element and not have it get muddy. So, breakfast burrito, chorizo and eggs, and maybe potatoes mixed in. So it's like a scramble. And then it's Susan. Does your burrito have to be griddled, like crisped up? Because mine does.
Sometimes it depends on if I'm feeling schmancy or not.
Okay. Gotcha. Rasta comes in with eggs, bacon, hash browns, and cheese for a breakfast burrito. That sounds delicious.
Solid.
Absolutely. Janine says eggs, green chilies, cheese, sausage for breakfast, and steak, rice, charro beans, corn salsa. Oh, corn salsa. Yeah.
He made
Hot
some
sauce and
amazing
pico.
corn salsa the other day.
So do I. We're going to have a corn salsa off soon.
Yes.
Rihanna comes in with egg whites, turkey, spinach, house roasted. Oh, fancy. Cremini mushrooms and mozzarella and a sun-dried tomato bit. Rihanna, you're gonna have to make breakfast at some point. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
See how much you can learn with a question about burritos. Just a simple question about how people take their burritos. This is the beauty of awkward or silly getting to know you questions. We don't need the ordinary. So Team Rocket Cam is in the house. Welcome.
Woo!
Thank you so much for stopping in. Happy Thursday to you. We are talking about, I'll just bring up the banner because that's a lot of fun. Awkward getting to know you questions. So we got time for a couple more, Susan Bruiser. So is it your turn or mine? I think it's your turn.
It is my turn.
It is your turn.
What is the best compliment that you have ever received?
You know I struggle with
I
talking about this
do,
stuff.
and that's why I did it. Because I also struggle. You know me.
Didn't this come up in the Pocky One Chip Challenge? I think this was a question from then.
It's possible.
Possible. Yeah. Huh. Best compliment ever. Well, I mean, a lot of people have commented about the work I do in announcing. And so I was always very flattered when announcers that I admired or that I looked up to and, you know, drew inspiration from when they came to me and they said that they're like, hey, man, I love listening to you. You're great. I think I was very fortunate to have a lot of those moments within the 10 years that I was a Derby announcer. I think the best one ever, I think the one that left me with the most like glorious high was a friend of mine. He announced under the name Bob Noxious, and he came up to me. He had never met me. We had never met face to face. I knew of him. He knew of me, and I was in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, calling an international tournament. The very first time there was one there, with Gold Coast, and I was only in my second or third year of announcing, and I had applied for the upcoming World Cup of roller derby, and he was the head announcer. He was going to be making the decisions, and he came up to me after my game that I had just announced, and he said, hey, so, you know, just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Bob. And I'm like, I know who you are. Like, I'm like, duh. And he's like, I kept hearing all this stuff about piggy fatness, and he goes, I walked into the venue and I heard a voice and it just stopped me in my tracks. So I went to the area where that game was going on, and I just sat and I listened, and I looked up and I saw it was you. And then somebody told me who you were, and I was like, he goes, and I remembered your application, and I was like, you know, so yeah, it was an amazing compliment for someone who I had listened to in my, you know, first couple of years and thought that's the style I want to be. And years later, getting to actually co-announce with him at men's World Cup in Canada was, I mean, come on. I feel like in those 10 years, I had the perfect like derby experience in terms of getting to work with all of my heroes and them giving me the kind of feedback they gave me. So long answer to a short question. Sorry. That's what I do.
It's all good. So do you remember a couple of years ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, they had this thing going around on social media where you could send a message anonymously to a Facebook friend. Someone sent, and I honestly like, I mean, you never really find out who these people are because nobody's going to fess up to it. So this person, I actually have it as a screenshot saved in my phone because sometimes I just need to look at it as that like reminder. Your smile and way is captivating. Such a beauty. You are also a kind soul. I'm thankful that I know you. It makes me tear up almost every time I read it. And also, oh God, my mind just went blank on it. Someone, it's gone. Never mind. But that one's the one that's the best compliment I've ever.
That's awesome. I love it. We've got some in the chat. I wanna Gator. Greatest compliment I've ever received. Nice stash. Absolutely. It is glorious. Let's see. Trying to see if I got Janine says someone reset Susan.
Sorry. I broke.
Let's see.
I was trying to remember the wording and then I got lost.
I get this one a lot. Rasta says my eyelashes are long because they are like an inch long. Yeah. I've gotten that compliment as well. That my eyelashes are that, and people compliment me all the time on my nail beds. I don't know what it is, but like I get that all the time. Like, especially if I go get a manicure or if I've just gotten one, people are like, oh my gosh, like your nail beds are really nice. And I'm like, thanks. Like, I don't know what that means, but all right. So
Cap of Sparkle Pants.
What did Cap of Sparkle Pants say? Yeah, animal. I have no idea what that is. So we'll let him decide.
He needs to explain. But
thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. So
you got some pretty hands.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for a manicure. I'm not gonna lie. Don't come near my feet, but I will do manicures as often as possible. So, all right, whose turn is it? My turn.
It is your turn.
Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Well, we have time for one more each. So I'll do mine and then you'll do yours. You're invited to a potluck. What is your go-to potluck dish? The one that as soon as I get invited to a potluck, I know what I'm taking.
Potato salad.
Okay.
There was one year that I took a 5-pound bag of potatoes, peeled all of them, and made a potato salad out of 5 pounds of potatoes.
Wait, at the event?
What do you mean?
You said I took a 5-pound bag of potatoes.
At my house. I took them, I peeled them, I made the potato salad, and it completely filled up one of those like cheap plastic what do you call them? Cheap plastic snack bowls that you can buy for like 99 cents at Walmart. Yeah, sure. Completely filled it up.
Okay. See, I thought you took the potatoes to the event. You were like, guess what I'm going to do? And so I could picture you doing that. So.
Okay.
Rihanna, this is the second time she has said tonight, apple cherry slap pie. And so I remind you, dear friend, that we're going to be all together again on July 4th weekend. So I am very much asking for an apple cherry slap pie because I need to know what that's all about. Gator brings the beer or pigs in a blanket. I think we need his recipe for that.
Rena's pigs in a blanket are.
Savage comes in with pasta salad. Janine says bacon wrapped jalapeno poppers.
Yes.
Let's see. Or bread. Savage, you can't just say this and walk off. Cheesesteak stuffed cheesecake, not cheesesteak. Cheesecake stuffed strawberries. Yeah, y'all are coming to Texas.
Yep.
Macarons is also there from Janine. Let's see. What else? Brianna says a fork. Captain Sparkle Pants says ribs. So yeah, we need to all get together.
Chicken
We got to get
legs.
everybody together. We got to get everybody together for a gathering. So, all right,
Chicken legs
Susan,
is
you're
another one
closing us
for me.
out.
Okay. All right. I was saving this one for last. What are your first, second, third? It doesn't matter. Give me a couple of your cheesiest pickup lines.
Pickup lines.
Cheesiest pickup lines.
Okay, what part of I'm socially awkward has not resonated with you this entire conversation?
Okay, fine. Let me. I'll
never. I can
redact it.
honestly say I have never used a pickup line because I'm too shy. So I hate to. Everybody right now is probably going, "Oh."
Okay. Tell me a story about a time when you felt super old. What happened?
Super old. Every time I see my nieces and nephews, because of all the amazing things they do. I feel super old anytime I see my nieces or nephews doing something at a young age that, like, I used to joke and say, because my like one of my nieces or nephews, they'll be in like first grade, second grade, and they're like, I'm already working on computers. And I'm like, when I was in first grade, I think I was eating dirt. Like, I don't like there was never, like, there's no comparison as to what I did when I was young comparative to them. So when I see them, like, before they ever hit school and they're already like on an iPad or something, I'm like, man, I am just old. Like, this was never even a thought when I was young. Or when people I'm very bad at gauging age. So as soon as someone says, well, yeah, I'm only this old, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't tell. So yeah, stuff like that is what makes me feel old. I'm not sure if that's a fun answer, but
No, I mean, it's an answer. That's the point. So my feeling old moment. It both of them, well, moments, I guess. They all revolve around my kids. So one of the things that they find a music or a song that I used to like when I was their
yeah.
age, and I'll bob to it. I'll sing the entire song, and they're like, "How do you know this song?" I'm like, "Dude, this came out when I was in your age. This is 26 years old or whatever."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What? No way." Or things like there was a picture of from when I was younger in my house, like looking down a hallway. We had a house phone on the wall, and it had that long ass cord.
Right.
And my youngest son was like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's a phone." "What do you mean it's a phone?" I'm like, "It's a phone. Like, you pick up and you talk on it." And he's like, "You have to stay tied to it. Like, you can't leave." I'm like, "Nope." You can't even go around the corner sometimes. You
That's
can walk up
funny.
and down that hallway though.
Yeah.
Those two. Oh, there was one more that I had and it just went away again.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like you said, when somebody's like, "Oh, I'm only blah 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 years old," and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"I'm twice your
You know what it
age."
is? No, you know what it is more than anything is when I know they're young and they say something like, this happens with my students all the time, at work. The older I get, the younger my classes get is what I'm finding in my career. And whenever one of the youngsters, and I don't call them that out loud, um, when they say something like, "Oh God, I'm so old," and I'm like, "You have no idea. I'm twice your age." Shut the hell up.
Oh,
And so, oh gosh, 20. Now, see, and here's the weird part: twice their age, they would be 26. So it's like, I'm more than twice your age. But yeah, that's when I'm like, when I have to tell somebody, "You're not old. I'm 53," and they're like, "Ooh." So yeah.
yeah. And I was gonna say one more thing. Was when one of my children or something online is all in uh Gen Z speak.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
what did you say?
Well, Janine has one that's similar to that.
Yeah,
So that's so
exactly.
science as an expression of wow. I love that. I'm going to start using that. Yeah. One of my favorite things to do with my students is I'll misuse current lingo. Like sometimes not always on purpose because but like like my last class they were trying to get me to understand the difference between fact and cap. And so like I was misusing them all the time. So but I have fun. Like there's a point where I'll start telling the class, okay, I need you guys to start teaching me these terms and I'll start using them in class. And it keeps them engaged. For me, it's a tool, right? But it does completely amaze me sometimes. And I'm like, what? That means what? So that's always fun. All right.
And really
Go
quick, I
ahead.
just want to add one last thing. If you are of the religious persuasion, and there is a public, like published Bible study called "The Word According to Gen Z," look it up.
It's hilarious.
It is
It is
hilarious,
beyond hilarious.
and
Yeah.
it's actually a for real thing
Yeah.
that exists.
It
So,
is. It's
yeah.
pretty hysterical. Okay. Do you have one on your list that you absolutely positively have to do? Because I do. And I
Uh-oh.
think we can close on that.
Okay. No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, I've
Come
got a bunch,
on.
but they're all. I mean, I don't.
All right. I'll do mine and then hopefully you'll think of one. Have you ever bought anything from an infomercial? I'm talking like a 100% legit infomercial on TV, not online.
I know I have. I know I have. Uh oh, actually, so there is a real old moment here. Um, it's a plug, and you plug it into the normal plug, and it has extra plug strips,
Yeah.
but you plug everything in, and then you turn them sideways so they're facing parallel to the wall.
Okay.
So I can plug stuff in, and it doesn't like make my couch
It doesn't jut out.
not yeah, and so
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
turn them sideways and all my plugs are
Gotcha. Janine says a rotisserie machine. I remember those.
just set it and forget it.
Yeah. Anything I've seen. Gator says I got it on as seen on TV shelf at Walmart when I was building a boat. Worked like a charm.
Oh,
Oh, the
Flex
Flex Seal.
Seal.
The Flex Seal. Yeah, gotcha.
Yes.
For me, I'll never forget the one purchase that as I was watching the infomercial with Jen, we literally turned to each other and we're like, oh, we have to get this. We couldn't afford it, but we managed. And it was a set of pots and pans called Ingenio. And it was like this was years and years ago. I'm talking probably 25 years ago, maybe even longer. And they were like super non-stick. And I will tell you straight up, to this day, we still have some of those pots and pans, and they're still non-stick. So, yeah, that was like that's a big memory for me because I'm like, wow, okay, these really work. And the thing that did it is in the commercial, they took one of the pots and they baked a cake in it and they pulled it out of the oven and they just turned the pot over and the cake slid out. I was like, that's it, we're buying this. I don't care that we can't afford it. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. All right. One last call. Or will we go to a part 2 someday?
Well, I mean, we should definitely do a part 2. Okay. Okay, it's a two-parter. What is a song? Well, I guess we'll just do this part. What is a song that reminds you of me?
Oh my god.
It only works between people who know each other.
It's going to be Moving Out by Billy Joel
Oh,
because
I
I
hate
love
you
to
so
terrorize you with that
much.
song. I love
I
to terrorize
hate
you with
you.
that song. I was in
hate
your
you.
house for those who are watching. So one of the things I love to do with this is what our entire friendship is based on. Susan and I is torturing one another. And we saw Billy Joel together and along with Rihanna and Captain Sparkle. We all went together and it was a great night. And
Nope. They went to Elton John with us.
oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, that's true. Billy Joel. So you had told me in the years that I'd known you, you were like, yeah, man, Billy Joel, Piano Man. And I was like,
I
why do you hate Billy Joel? I'll tell the story my way. And we're at the concert and he goes into Moving Out, which is one of my absolute favorite Billy Joel songs. And you turned to me and you said, this is the song I hate. And I'm like, oh, I might have to leave you here. And so now the other day I was in your house and I made Alexa bend to my will. And I said, Alexa, play Moving Out by Billy Joel. And Alexa did. And now that's going to happen at your house every time I'm there. July 4th.
I'm gonna cancel it.
Apple
I'm gonna
slap
make
pie.
it to not do that. So the way that it really happened is I was explaining that I hate this one song by Billy Joel, and I said I don't care about it anyway. But like, I worked overnight at Walgreens, and they had one CD, and it played on repeat. So I heard Moving Out about 6 times in a night.
That's awesome.
And also Muskrat Love, that song.
Muskrat Love. All right. I wonder if folks who are watching it, they have a song that reminds them of a favorite person of theirs. I weaponize Billy Joel with Susan. It's too easy. So Moving Out.
I was going to go nice with you, but I don't know.
I mean, come on. How is it not I Want It That Way by Backstreet Boys?
That's
it's the first song you heard me sing.
Yeah, on a road trip. Exactly.
Every single word. So
there's that one, and then there's also Sexy Back, because that was your
That's my theme song. That's your
theme song. So I can, every time I think it.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm sure everybody's like, okay, y'all are gross. Let's move on. So we're going to take a moment to, wow, this is already the longest episode we've ever done. And we got quite a bit of a viewer count. So thank you all very much. This was all a lot of fun. There's definitely enough questions for a part 2. So somewhere down the road, we'll pick up and we'll do this again. If you have questions that you would contribute to this whole awkward getting to know you questions, shoot us a note. You can find us right there on the bottom right corner of our screen on Twitter at Search Sexy Potato for myself and at Susan Bruiser for Susan. Shoot us a note, maybe post some things that you thought about, questions that would work for this kind of topic. And really, if there's anything that you want us to talk about on the show, our brand is very simple. It's right on top. We talk about all the things. So
all the things.
Susan, another great episode. Thank you so much for what you bring to the show. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for making this whole thing happen.
Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, we once again to all of you say thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate you joining us here every week on Twitch. We will continue to do this until the wheels fall off or else my microphone fails. But until then, remember, have a great week. Love one another. Be love and light in this world. And don't forget, you are awesome. You're amazing. And the world's a better place because you are in it. We will see you next week on A Few Minutes With. Good night, everybody.